Okay, here we are approaching the midpoint of our HTML project where we are creating our HTML pages to reflect our Airbnb and country wireframe. This layout here indicates where within this lesson you should have pulled in those planning sheets from the wireframe. Lessons 4 and 6 concluded with your country page. Lessons 7, 9, and 11 all are linked together for your Airbnb page. And then lesson 13 is where you start new, and that's where you are going to create your activities page. So if I take a look at my initial wireframe planning sheet here, my first one was Barcelona, which included a title, some subtitles, and bulleted lists. I also had my Airbnb page, which had three cool things about my Airbnb, and then my adventure page, which 3 different adventures within the country of my Airbnb. So if I take a look at my web development, and this is the overview of it, the very first time you started pulling in some of those objects or those planning sheets are within the mini project. If I open up 4.4, and again, if I look, that's right here, lesson 4.3 or lesson 4.4, it's the same one. That's where I went in and I pulled in my Barcelona. I pulled in my 2 subtitles. So I'm going to go ahead and split screen this so you can kind of see how that looks. So here's my wireframe over here on the left. And then over here on the right is the resulting screen of what that ended up looking like. You can see how it sort of balances out. Now, I didn't have images in because in lesson 4, it didn't have me put images. Then again, I jump ahead to lesson 6. And at the end, throughout lesson 6, I learned how to do CSS and styling. And the very final lesson or final bubble within this would be letter F. And this is now where I added my CSS. So if I go over here to my style sheet, I added in some background colors and some different fonts, some of the things that you learned how to do. I even added some styling to my list items because I wanted those to be red. So that should finish off to this point your lesson 6 of your first wireframe of country. Then we jump to your next lesson. So if you jumped ahead, you're doing lesson 6. You scroll forward, you should have done lesson 7 now. And this is where it asks you to go in and do some additional things, some additional style. That's where you would pull in your Airbnb. So my final thing that I did was right here. Now this is going to have some additional options in it because I've already done these. But here is my Airbnb. Right. So I've got my beach house. I've got the cool things about it. And I've got my 3 bullet points. I decided to do a ordered list of the 3 things about my Airbnb. That's the end of lesson 7, where you started adding in also a new style sheet. All right. Then you jumped ahead to lesson 9, where it started teaching you how to insert images. So if I go into images, again, the final thing on lesson 9, which was lesson 9, bubble 8, letter D. It imported in my Airbnb page that I had done previously, and now I could insert some images, and that's where I inserted, and I'll make it full screen here. That's where I inserted my header that I had created in a previous assignment and my 3 images. Now, one challenge with your images, and I've found, is that if you can't find these images that you used on your style sheet or on your wireframe, I recommend just using your snipping tool. So open up the snipping tool and snip that image, snip that, save it as a JPEG. And then when you are moving to your HTML, you'll be able to upload those over here on the left side. I uploaded my header and my 3 outdoor pages images, and I just put them in here. All right. And that's lesson 9. Then I jump ahead to lesson 11. And again, it's linked together and you're still doing it on your Airbnb page. So lesson 11, we skip number 10, is where you're adding additional styling elements. And that primarily focuses around adding borders, adding different things to your images, doing things along those lines. So over here, a lot of that was this image. I added some borders. I added some radius to the edges. I curved the edges a little bit. I specified the height of my images. I decided to go with height instead of width because that right now would affect also my header. So I just saved those as 250. If I did width, it would affect my header image, and I want that to be full width right now. There are obviously ways to do that in the future. Those are called classes. That's in lesson 13 or 14, and we'll talk about those in the future here. But right now, I've got lesson 9 reflects my second page. Okay, then I jump ahead to just lesson 11. Like I said, does some additional styling, right? And then I jump ahead to lesson 13. And lesson 13 has you start all over again. But on lesson 13, this is where you are now going to pull in your final page, which is your activities page. You can see here, my planning sheet for my activities page looks like this. I've got my header. I've got my styling. I've got my images. I've got all these things that I wanted to use within all of my different activities page. So I go to my HTML, I write in my HTML, I upload my images, I go into my style sheet, I start applying some styles. I still haven't done that yet. But this is where now things start coming together. I've got lesson 13 reflecting my header, my style, or my activities and my images. So pretty basic here. But now here is the final trick. Within lesson 13, we are going to also import those 2 previous pages. Right now, we have our activities page. We're also going to import our Airbnb page, and we're going to import in our initial country page, along with the styles, along with our images. Easiest way to do that I've found is this. Have lesson 13 open. Click this more. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get my lesson 6, and I'm going to right click on it and say open in new tab. That way it leaves this lesson 13 open, but I can jump now to lesson 6. So I'm going to pull 6. I'm going to grab this index. So I'm going to grab everything from this. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of this JavaScript because this messes up everything we do. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this, Control C to copy it. I'm going to go over here to lesson 13, where I've already now created my adventure page, and I'm actually going to rename this to adventure. Rename, come and that's going to allow me to do it. It's not doing it right this very second, but it should let me do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add an HTML page, and this is going to be called new, but I'm going to rename that. There we go. This one's going to be called country. I'm going to go ahead and paste in everything I just had, right? And refresh it and save it. That should work. Perfect. And then I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to jump down to now lesson 11, which is my final version of my Airbnb. Click on bubble 9, click down here to add your page letter G. And once again, I'm going to go grab everything, copy it, go over here, add a new HTML page. Rename this one as Airbnb. Highlight all this, delete it, and paste all my new stuff in here. Oops. All right. And now you can see this is missing my images, but that's because I haven't uploaded those images yet. So I'm going to go ahead and add those images that I haven't gotten. These are the ones that go along with my adventure page, but I need to now get my header for my country and or this is for the Airbnb rather. You get that. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Now, as these get added, they should show up over here on the left side. We'll hit refresh and save, and now things are starting to look a little bit better. All right, looks like maybe that last image pool.jpg didn't pop up yet. Maybe I have to re-import that. And it looks like I must have missed that one, so I'm going to go ahead and add that image just in case. And these, I had already saved all of these. There we go. Hit refresh. Now it's there. All right. There's my country page. There's my Airbnb page. Refresh. And here is my index page, which is going to be my adventure page. All right. Now, technically, adventure, it's not letting me rename the index page because that is the starting page. But that's okay. We'll reorganize this sort of as we go here. And then the final thing we're going to want to take a look at copying and pasting over is our style sheet. Now, on lesson 13, I did not build a style sheet because I want to go ahead and go back and use the one that I did on lesson 11. I like that style sheet. It did all my different stylings. So I'm going to go ahead and all copy, go back here. I'm going to paste it. And as long as all of my pages have a link to that style sheet, so my index page, my country page does, and now I know that my third page, Airbnb page, also does it. So now if you look at them, all of their styles match. All right, so I've got same backgrounds, same borders, same image sizes here, here, here. All right, now the final thing I'll need to do is go back to my country page because if you remember, I imported this from lesson 6. We had not learned how to insert images yet. So I'm going to go ahead and insert some images into this one with my header and my images, and those should reflect my planning sheet here where it was really just a header sheet and then a flag and a map or something else that goes along with that. You can see how these are really getting close. So once we have all of our pages here and we've got all of our images and a single style sheet, this is really what we're working towards for the next couple of days. And then we are going to finalize this with an interlinked and add some additional features and styling and hyperlinks. And we will be working on those over the next couple of days.